Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm creating the last monthly spread for 2023, and for this December setup I decided to create a really cute Christmas theme with lots of different gift packages, candies, hearts, gingerbread cookies and other festive items. This theme might not be as minimalist as the ones I usually do, and overall the drawings took quite a bit of time and this video turned out to be a longer one, but I hope you still enjoy it as much as I did creating it. I also know that this theme may not be for everyone, but hopefully at least you can get some inspiration from my different layouts. I started the setup with the cover page as per usual, where I drew various packages and other Christmas items. I placed the doodles diagonally so that they are almost like floating across the page. I drew gift packages in different shapes and sizes, varying the color combinations. With a theme like this, it's easy for it to become chaotic, but having a cohesive color palette helps a lot. And you can see me showing all the pens and markers that I used for this setup as I'm drawing everything, and you can also find all the supplies used in the description. For this theme I chose different shades of brown and light pink, and also added just a little bit of red, which I think was just perfect for Christmas. I wrote December in the center of the doodles, and I also drew a border, and then I started working on the currently page next to the cover page. I included this page for the first time last month, and I enjoyed it a lot, so I decided to try it again in December. At the top of the page I created 5 boxes where I'm planning to write down what I read, what I watched, what I loved, created, and what inspired me the most this month. For my 2024 bullet journal setup, I'd like to have something like this in the yearly collections, but I'm not sure how to do that yet. So if you have any good spread ideas for memory keeping, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy my content, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. My 2024 setup will be the next video that I'll be posting here, so you'll get a notification once the video is up. Anyway, I decorated the page with a few more gift boxes, and at the bottom I left some space for 3 things I want to focus on in December. Next we are moving on to my calendar page, which is a bit different this month compared to the layout I did in November. This time I made the calendar a bit wider, and I could have actually made it a bit taller too, but I miscounted the squares and accidentally created too many weeks to this calendar. I drew the calendar grid under the title with a brown Tombow marker, and I wrote the days of the week using a slightly darker Acrylograph pen. In this setup I didn't use black pen for much else besides the titles and some text here and there, and all the boxes, except for the box I did on the cover page, I drew with brown markers. And lately I've been leaning more towards these kinds of setups because I like the softer look that they give to the whole theme. I decided to use that extra week for decorations, and it actually turned out really cute, and it kind of reminds me of some kind of a mini advent calendar. I had planned to place the decorations on the left side of this calendar. However, since I already did the decorations under the calendar, I decided to use this small space for a Christmas to-do list. Later in the setup, I also have an entire spread for Christmas planning, but I think this list will also come in handy, and at least it's always there next to the calendar for me to see. I highlighted every other line in this list using a grey Tombow pen, and at the bottom of the page I set my goals for December. I'll write down 3 of my most important goals, and next to them I also created a progress tracker. I've had this same goals section for quite some time, so it would be nice to come up with something new for the next year. On the right side of the calendar, the weekly plans section doesn't need any changes because it works well as it is. It helps me schedule various tasks for different weeks, and when I'm planning for the upcoming weeks in my weekly spreads, I can also see what weekly tasks are coming up. The very last thing I added to this page was small boxes for this month's tasks and next month's planning. Next up we have my December schedule. I wrote the header in a slightly different font this time and added just a little bit of decoration on both sides of the title. Then I created the schedule for my weekdays in December, and usually I use this page to check which days are a bit more busy for me and when I have more time. On weekdays I usually wake up around 6 a.m. and go to bed before 10 p.m, so the schedules for each day fall within that time frame. I left the schedule blank for now, but under it I made a color code that I'll use to mark things like work hours, hobbies, and also when I'm only going to relax. On the page next to this one, I'm creating my habit tracker. And at the top of the page, I first created 6 boxes to track different daily habits. I used the same color combination as on the calendar page, so I drew the boxes with a brown Tombow pen and then wrote the days of the week with a slightly darker Acrylograph pen called Buff. I used a light gray marker as the background color for the titles, and I also crossed out the dates of November from the first row of each box. The habits that I'm tracking this month are eating healthy, doing my morning routine, evening bullet journaling, doing chores, checking my expenses every day, and buying only necessary items. Under the daily habits, I also included my weekly habits, and I decided to use those small hearts that I've been drawing throughout this whole setup. So instead of circles, I'll color in the red heart when I complete a habit for that week. This month my weekly habits are doing a weekly reset, working on my YouTube videos, checking my budget, and filling in my memory journal. At the bottom of the page, I drew some Christmas presents, candles, gingerbread cookies, and even more hearts. We are moving on to my financial trackers, and I started this spread with a small money goals section where I write down, for example, the savings goal that I have for this month, and next to it I also created a tracker for my savings. I have a few different saving goals, so here I can write down how much I had saved at the beginning of the month and how much I have by the end of the month. Last month I made a small change to my budget tracker, and it turned out to be a really good one. So instead of writing down how much I have spent on each of my categories, I'll write down how much is left in my budget after each week. This really helped me stay on track with my budget, so I definitely wanted to make a similar tracker for December. In this tracker, I write down the budget for each of my categories, and throughout the month, I'll track how my budget is holding up. Especially in December, I want to be careful not to spend too much money, especially on unnecessary things. This year, I realized before December that I didn't have much saved for Christmas. So for next year, I definitely need some kind of a Christmas sinking fund where I can add money throughout the fall months. Under all of these, I added a mini tracker for my groceries budget and my wants budget, which includes the last 8 categories on my list. The last financial tracker is this expense tracker that you see me creating on the next page. Here I'll write down all my daily expenses, so it's essentially just a big one-page table. I tried making 2 columns for this last month, and unsurprisingly I was able to fit a lot more of my expenses onto this page, so I went with the same layout for this month as well. I dedicated the next page entirely to Christmas planning. I decided not to divide the page into sections, but on this spread I want to write down gift ideas, maybe create some kind of a tracker for gifts that are already purchased and whose gift I still need to buy. Also, I'll add a plan for the Christmas menu and include Christmas card details on this page and all things Christmas, I guess. I added a few Christmas doodles at the bottom of the spread as decoration, and finally drew a border around the whole spread and a few hearts to the sides. This spread looks quite empty at this stage, but it will definitely fill up when we get closer to Christmas. We have made it to the last spread of this setup, and this is going to be my first weekly spread for December. On this spread I actually included the first 10 days of December, so first I wrote the header to the top and added some decorations next to that. One of my goals for next year should definitely be to try to make more minimalist spreads and remind myself that not every page needs to be decorated. Anyway, under the gift boxes, I created a large to-do list for this week because the daily boxes turned out a bit smaller than usual. I separated the days with these dark brown lines, but I wanted to leave a bit more white space here, so I didn't draw the entire box. Above the lines, I added the weekdays, and on the right side of the spread, I made a separate section for events. Although it took me a while to create all these pages and even more time to edit this setup video, I really like how this turned out. I would love to hear in the comments what theme you have chosen for December and whether your theme is a Christmas related one or something completely different. If the super Christmassy theme is not your thing, I also have many old videos, so hopefully you can find a theme there to try out. Now the setup is all done and it's time to see the final flip through of my last monthly setup for 2023. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, come say hi in the comments and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!